Our life and our dreams may be radically altered by the decisions that we've made or by the decisions of others. I've lived long enough to know that I truly believe I am an accomplice in the pain and disappointment which rocks my world. But that acknowledgement doesn't lessen the pain and the disappointment created by the slings and the arrows of this world, especially those by betrayal. So what do we do with the loss and the hurt we feel from infidelity? I know one time, well actually, if I'm honest, I've lost both of my kids. I'm a really good dad, but I've lost both of my kids. And if you're a parent, even if it lasts 2 or 3 minutes, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the terror that comes when you can't find either one of your kids. What's worse is the passionate and sincere effort that we have of keeping something like that from happening. And then when it goes sideways, you didn't cause it, you do everything in your power to stop it. At least that was my perspective. And then your efforts fail. And so it's the same kind of thing. How do you deal with this type of failure or loss when you're trying to recover from an infidelity? Odds are, if you're listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyone who's been devastated by betrayal or who has really screwed their marriage up and then discovered how powerless that they were to really stop the resulting devastation knows exactly what I'm talking about. Our life and our dreams may be radically altered by the decisions that we've made or by the decisions of others. You know, just a couple of years ago, because of a life event, I sat in my office wallowing in more pain and aloneness than I had ever known before. I begged, I bargained, I railed. I was so disoriented, and I remembered at that moment clients and even some really close friends that had experienced some devastating losses of their own. Charles Dickens talks about this too, his view on suffering in a similar way. He says, in every life, no matter how full or empty one's purse is, there is tragedy. It is the promise of life, and it always fulfills. Thus, happiness is a gift, and the trick is not to expect it, but to delight in it when it comes and to add to other person's store of it. I couldn't agree more, but that doesn't mean that I can't be disappointed. I do get it. Life is hard, and I am most certainly not in control. But how does that understanding keep us from angry and bitter disappointment? I no longer have the innocence of childhood. I've lived long enough to know that I truly believe I am an accomplice in the pain and disappointment which rocks my world. But that acknowledgement doesn't lessen the pain and the disappointment created by the slings and the arrows of this world, especially those by betrayal. So what do we do with the loss and the hurt we feel from infidelity? Albert Haas, in his book, Coming Home to Your True Self, tells the story of a 16-year-old young woman dying of ALS. And he asks her, "Is it hard to die?" "Not really," she replied almost instantly. "The suffering of the past year has forced me to let go of so many things. My privacy, the ability to go to the bathroom alone, the ability to feed myself and change the TV channel. It seems like every day I'm challenged to let go of something else. So I've gotten really good at letting go and surrendering to the present moment. I suspect when death comes, it's going to be another moment to let go and surrender. So I don't think it'll be hard to die. I suspect it will come quite naturally to me." I think those were really wise words coming from a 16-year-old young lady. We can't control life circumstances, but we can control our attitudes towards life. We get to determine how we see it. The level of my angry and bitter disappointment is really a measure of my resistance to the circumstances which intend to change me and transform me and heal me. It's a matter of how I perceive the situation. We've got to quit falling for this oldest deception in the book, that somehow we are God and that we know best. The author of Genesis showed us this as the root of the problem. In the story of the fall of man from Genesis chapter 3, the devil raises this question of whether or not God is really good, if he's really out for their best interest. And he tells Adam and Eve that they can be in control and decide for themselves what's good or bad. The problem here is that we're not God. I'm not God. I might think I know what's good or bad or how things need to turn out, but the older I get, the question is, do I really know that? But my challenge is to let go and surrender to the present moment, this moment, and accept that what is, rather than railing against things that I don't have any power to change. It's important to note that I'm not saying you should just give it to God and get over it. Not by a long shot. That would be a form of spiritual bypassing. Ignoring the pain will not work when recovering from infidelity. We all have choices to make, and we all have a journey to travel. And my choices are my choices, and my journey is mine, and yours are yours. And we all have to understand our powerlessness to change or control others. It's about acceptance. Not that it was okay that it happened, but that it did. Accept that it did happen. And we need to accept our need to loosen our grip on the details as well as the outcome, and just trust the process. It's about agreeing to stop trying to force life to work on our terms and surrendering to what is. If you're drowning in disappointment and angry bitterness, I'd invite you to consider joining an EMS online course that's for our couples. You will get expert help and this roadmap for this windy and uncertain road ahead. I think you'll find it a great help to you.